Tonight, thousands here on the First Coast are under evacuation orders as major Hurricane Milton takes aim at Florida's Gulf Coast. Take a look at this brand new satellite video of Milton from the International Space Station. This really puts into perspective just how big this storm is. Thank you for joining us tonight for First Coast News at 7. I'm Heather Crawford. Jessica Clark is on assignment. So people who live along the coast and along the St. Johns River in St. Johns County are under a mandatory evacuation order. This as millions along the Gulf Coast flee from the storm. Let's show you a live look at I-95 in St. Johns County. Lots of traffic right here near the Duval County line. And first tonight, we want to check in with Chief Meteorologist Tim Deegan for the latest on Hurricane Milton's track. Tim?
All right, thanks, Heather. And let's get to the headlines. So once again, has regenerated into a Category 5, but the forecast is, with plenty of confidence, it'll be a 4 and then a 3. So still a major hurricane when it makes landfall. We'll talk about why we feel confident about that. But probably almost more significant for us is that what if that hurricane continued that direct line? Yes, it wouldn't be as strong, but it would impact us in a much more significant way. But we're confident it's also going to make this turn. We're not sure exactly when, that timing being adjusted, but even with more confidence, it will make the turn and travel across I-4 and exiting maybe even south of I-4. Think more toward the Cape. Why is that? Well, the same front that produced the rain over the weekend but then dropped to the south. And so we dried out a bit with not quite as humid conditions on a latter part of Sunday, but then especially yesterday and today. That front is not going to move much. It's going to move a little farther to the north, but that will direct the hurricane so that when it makes it to land, it's going to pretty much track along that front, lifting again somewhat to the north, but for the most part, once it gets to about I-4, it's going to race off to the east and to the northeast. So there's a why as far as going to make the turn. And with more confidence now, even the hurricane conditions, that is sustained winds, will stay just south of Putnam County, even though you're under a hurricane warning. But because of the iffiness of the forecast, that's where the Hurricane Center still puts you under a warning. These are the conditions we expect. Sustained of 60, that means widespread power outages and trees down, hurricane force gust, 6 to 12 inches of rain and a storm surge, and that's why the St. Johns and the creeks will come up in a big way over Putnam County. St. Johns County, again, we expect the sustained hurricane force winds, the eye wall to stay south of you. Right now the forecast would be 100 miles south of St. Augustine, the eye. Hurricane conditions a little bit closer, but because of the iffiness and because of these conditions, not as bad as Matthew or Irma, but still some pretty rough conditions, that's why you're under a hurricane warning. We're not, though, under Duval and Clay and points northward. We'll talk more about what that means for Duval and Clay and points northward and westward in just a few moments.
There is a mandatory evacuation ordered for 3 zones in St. Johns County. And I want to show you the map, the county's evacuation map. This is for zones A, B, and part of zone F under evacuation orders in St. Johns County. Now, Zone A is right here. This is the red that you see on the map. That's pretty much the entire St. Johns County coastline from Ponte Vedra Beach down to Marineland. Now, the areas around the St. Johns River, we're talking Fruit Cove down to Hastings. Zone B is these areas that you see right here. Those are the areas surrounded by the red in the Ponte Vedra Beach area and south of there, as well as the St. Augustine Shores area. And Zone F, that's the pink you see on this map. But we do want to note that's only the areas south of State Road 206. Also, residents who live in boats, RVs, and mobile homes, and those of you who live in low-lying areas in St. Johns County should evacuate. Our Renata DeGregorio is in the Davis Shores area with the latest tonight.
We're in Davis Shores, where they know all too well what it's like to have to deal with water in their homes and a lot of work to do after a storm. Seeing sandbags like this, not uncommon here on Coquina Avenue. And we were over in Volano Beach a little bit earlier where people were putting these sandbags together. We met a mother and daughter who were in Asheville during Helene and say they were trapped for 3 days. Now they're preparing to ride out Milton. They worry it's too late to leave right now. Norma and Julia Ray are feeling anxious. They looked for hotels but say they couldn't find anything besides going north of Atlanta, and they don't want to risk driving that far. Another woman making sandbags tells us yesterday it took her friend 12 hours to drive from St. Petersburg to Savannah when it should have taken 6. Norma Ray is worried about flooding. You can see the beach from her house.
We are again a week later. Doing it again.
Some neighbors here are hoping the pump station on Coquina Avenue works to help relieve any flooding caused by this storm. Reporting in St. Johns County, Renata DiGregorio, First Coast News, on your side.
Thank you, Renata. And we are on your side with a county-by-county breakdown of evacuation zones. So even if your area does not have evacuations, it's important to know which zone you're in. You can text the word zone to the number on your screen, 904-633-2402. We'll send it straight to your phone. Shelters in St. Johns County are scheduled to open tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Freedom Crossing Academy is designated for those with special needs. Southwoods Elementary School is a pet-friendly shelter, and everyone is welcome to go to Pedro Menendez High School. Again, those shelters open tomorrow at 8 a.m. And with a hurricane warning issued for Putnam County, people there are preparing to hunker down. Our Riley Phillips is in Palaca, where people have been boarding up windows today and getting those last-minute supplies ahead of Milton.
Yeah, some businesses downtown were already closed today. We're starting to see gas stations run out of gas here in Putnam County. I spoke with a couple people who are starting to board up their windows. They do not want to take any chances with this storm. Sandbags were already in place at businesses in downtown Palaca. This or That Cafe was one of the few businesses open in downtown Palaca today. The owner told me she's pretty anxious about this storm. They will be open tomorrow, but they're also starting to move some things off their patio.
We have a lot of tables outside, so we'll be bringing all the glass ones in, buckling down the food truck, picking up everything that may fly away. Our umbrellas and all, we'll take those down at noon tomorrow when we close, because we are going to be open from 7 till noon tomorrow.
The Putnam County Emergency Management Agency is recommending evacuations for zones A and F. If you are in one of those recommended zones, shelters are already open in Putnam County. The EMA is really encouraging people to play it safe and take advantage of those shelters. In Palaca, Riley Phillips, First Coast News, on your side.
Yeah, heed those warnings. And again, those shelters in Putnam County opened about an hour ago. The general public can go to Jenkins Elementary in Interlochen, Browning Pierce Elementary School in San Mateo, and Middleton Burney Elementary in Crescent City. Osceola Elementary in Hawthorne is the only pet-friendly option there. Kelly Smith Elementary in Palaca is for anyone with special needs. Now, in Duval County, shelters are scheduled to open tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Anyone is welcome to go to Arlington Middle School, Chaffee Trail Elementary, or La Villa School of the Arts. Those of you with pets can go to Landmark Middle School on Kernan Boulevard. And those with pets or special medical needs can go to Atlantic Coast High School or the Legends Center in Jacksonville. These shelters, again, scheduled to open tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Now to school closures across the First Coast. A lot of schools will be closed starting tomorrow. Clay, Columbia, Nassau, Putnam County schools, they're all set to close tomorrow and Thursday. Right now, Duval and St. Johns County schools are set to be closed tomorrow, Thursday, and also on Friday. And as we get new information on school closures and shelters, we will post those updates in the First Coast News app. You can also find the latest forecast and that county-by-county breakdown of impacts from Milton. For a link to download it, text the word app, APP, to 904-633-2402.